So the first premise, God is the necessary precondition for knowledge. That needs to be demonstrated in order for the other premises to be true. You cannot just randomly say something is a necessary precondition without demonstrating that thing exists and therefore is capable of creating or being a precondition for anything. So, what I'm asking you to do is to demonstrate that the God exists so we can apply these traits. Simply claiming knowledge exists,
You realize
which I agree with.
my argument is that these necessary preconditions for knowledge are in place and that the necessary
I agree
condition of
with
these
you.
things is God, and that's the argument for God's existence.
I hear you. When I'm agreeing with you, here's where we agree. We agree that logic is a necessary condition for knowledge. We agree on those things. What we don't agree on is that God is a precondition for that. What I'm asking you to demonstrate, because you're claiming God is a precondition, is that the God actually exists to be a precondition. Simply
The
saying
argument's
the God is a
already for God's
precondition.
existence. This is what you're missing.
No,
Uh,
what you're missing is that going out an argument is valid and structure doesn't mean it's sound.
And just
It's still
claiming something's not
sound.
sound doesn't make it not so.
I agree with you.
So
So
what you're
let's make
missing,
the
so
argument
wait, no,
sound.
listen, what you're missing is you're missing that the argument for God's existence is the very possibility of knowledge itself. That's the argument for
I
God's existence.
understand that,
So now
but the possibility
you're
of knowledge
asking,
itself
mhm.
needs to be the God for the God to even be needed for the possibility of knowledge. The God needs to be demonstrated to exist before you can apply
The
that trait. Simply
demonstration
saying,
is the possibility of knowledge itself. This is what you're not understanding. So
no, I
what is
fully
my
understand what
argument?
you're saying.
What is my argument?
Your argument is that God is the necessary precondition for knowledge. We have knowledge, therefore God. That is a validly. I'm not
Yes,
debating.
therefore God. No, but what you're
No,
missing is
I hear
you're
you.
bypassing. You're not hearing me because you're
Okay,
bypassing the argument, and you're saying to show
not
that your
actually.
argument that God exists is true. You need to
Yes,
show that God exists. The argument is what's
yes.
already doing that.
No, and that's why I told you I accept the structure as valid. I've already told you that.
So
What I'm
now you need
asking
to
you to
attack
do,
the prep. Now you need to actually attack my system and my account, or deny
okay,
the possibility of knowledge.
no, 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 no. I don't have to do that, and I never did.
No, I
Simply
said
because
that's what
you
you need to
claim,
do. Yeah.
no, no, no. That's not actually what I need to do. What you need to do is actually demonstrate the God on which you're building your argument actually exists. Because simply claiming God is a necessary precondition for knowledge, we have knowledge, therefore God, actually does need to be demonstrated. While I will admit that the argument is valid, the soundness needs to be demonstrated.
Yep.
There needs to be a bit of
Did you hear the
honesty
rest of
there.
my opening statement?
I heard it, and like I said to you, I agree with you that we have the uses, we have the concepts of logic
So
and all of
did you
those
hear the
abstracts.
account I gave for logic, a self, and objective telos, which are a couple of the
I
necessary
agree.
conditions for knowledge
Sure,
itself? That's the
I understand
demonstration,
that.
Nikki. That's the
No, 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 no,
demonstration.
no. Simply claiming it's the demonstration, you need to demonstrate first. So
Simply
what?
claiming
So
it's
what
not the
we're
demonstration, you can't just claim that. You need to demonstrate it's not a demonstration.
That's what I'm doing. That's what
Okay,
I'm doing.
demonstrate it.
I understand that you are saying that the self and these other things are needed, and I agree with you, and I agree that we are able to use these things to navigate our
And how do
environment,
you
as you
account for
said.
them?
That's not what I'm about to ask you. What I'm about to,
No,
because
that's
you
what I
asked,
asked
no,
you.
no, what you actually just recently asked me to do was show the flaw in your argument. And I was in the process of doing that when you interjected with a question that wasn't related to what you asked me to do. So, what I'm trying to tell you is the claim that this God is responsible for these things or precondition for these things has to be demonstrated as true. Simply claiming it, because people can they can insert pretty much any abstract idea in there, but we need to value
No,
the
they can't.
actual. Okay, well, if they want to describe it a certain way and they describe something as having this type of nature and it's an abstract concept, then that doesn't have any explanatory. It has the same level of explanatory power as yours does. What needs to occur is that
It
the
wouldn't, because it can be
foundation.
refuted.
Well, you. Well, you.
So
Well, I guess it
demonstrate that you can
depends.
plug anything into my argument, and that it can account for the possibility of knowledge.
Universe creating pixies.
Okay.
Universe knowledge, they're the necessary precondition. So
Okay. And
that
how
is
do
an
you
abstract
know?
concept.
Yeah, and how do you know these universal pixies?
Well, knowledge exists and they're a
No, how
precondition
do
for
you know
knowledge.
these? How do you know about these universal pixies? Are they anything like you, or are they utterly dissimilar?
Well, You know what? They haven't revealed that to me yet, but if I pray to them tonight and ask,
Okay,
they
if
might.
they
But
haven't
to
revealed
answer your
anything, you have
question,
no knowledge claims of these pixies. You're discussing something of which you have no knowledge of.
no, that's
So
actually
let's
not
get back to
true.
atheism versus
No.
Christianity.
Well, that's what I was actually trying to do. And if you would allow me to just to
Well,
continue,
you keep
they
repeating you
revealed
haven't demonstrated, and then I've shown you that
actually
I
I
have.
have. No, you actually haven't, because what you've done
Just
is you made
claiming you
the
haven't demonstrated is not a demonstration that I haven't
what
demonstrated.
what you haven't, because what you have done is you've made claims. Forming those claims into a valid argument does not actually mean the claims are true. I understand, and like I said previously to my last opponent and all the others, and what other atheists and even other Christians have said, is that in order to make a claim that this thing is accountable or preconditioned for something else, that thing that you're claiming is responsible in a precondition actually needs to be demonstrated. What you're doing is you're saying the existence of these things mean this thing exists, but the thing itself hasn't been observed in order to be responsible for the things that
The
you're claiming it's
argument is for
responsible for.
God's existence. And what you're doing is you're thinking that a demonstration, like you said before, is only empirically done. Okay. And so this has been demonstrated through how my worldview accounts for these things. So just saying, oh, it hasn't been demonstrated, you're bringing this presupposition of everything must be demonstrated empirically. I've demonstrated it
In order for
logically
it to
and
have,
shown. Okay, so in order for it to have
so
explanatory power, it
does
must
this
be
God?
demonstrated empirically. What
Yes,
is your empirical demonstration for logic?
it's usage,
That's
right?
not a demonstration. I can do the example
It's the
again.
laws of law. I'm sorry. Let me specify my apologies. What I've said is that the laws of logic and their usage is empirically demonstrable. What you have not done is,
That's
but
not
then
a
again, I'm not
demonstration
going
of
to.
the thing itself.
I actually
You're
kind
just
of
making
already
a
did.
claim. No, you didn't. You're just making a claim that you use this thing, therefore it works. I'm asking for how you justify the tool itself. How do you
Well,
account for the tool itself?
I'm just going to say this. You have actually not accounted for God. What you've claimed is that you've said that
I
because
have
these things
shown that this is
exist,
how these things are necessary for the very possibility of knowledge, and for those
sure
things
they
to be
are.
accounted for, God is the necessary condition of those things.
Demonstrate that, please. Show that the God exists and is a
Okay.
necessary condition.
And by demonstrate, you don't mean the logical argument that I gave in my 7-minute opening statement. You mean empirical
Yeah,
demonstration.
because
Okay. So
that's
you
what
want an
has,
empirical
if I may,
demonstration.
this is what, okay, so just really quickly, when we have these conversations, and I know that you and I are this superfluous, just obnoxious reiteration of the same concepts. You and I are not lay people, and I understand that. But God is not simply just a concept. You
Yeah,
yourself said,
God is personal. Yeah. God is
oh,
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Yeah.
boom, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. So my mother would agree with you, my uncle, and when I bring them up because when I talk to them, they're not going to bring these this bullshit, right? It's bullshit. But this is
Why
bullshit.
is it bullshit?
And
What's your standard for what's
because
bullshit?
no, because you know that the mere logical argument for God isn't going to meet the burden of proof that you have
No,
to
it
meet in
absolutely
order to
does. This is
demonstrate,
why I'm
in order
arguing with you
that
right
you have
now.
to meet you have to meet in order to demonstrate the
So
fact that
you
this
just
thing is
claimed I think
personal.
my argument's
That you
bad.
no, yeah, actually you do.
Yeah.
Because what the thing is, because here's the thing, right? And I think we got to it because you admitted something important.
Mm.
You admitted that this thing is personal.
Yeah.
Something being personal means that it has anthropomorphic traits, and at least enough to where we can interpret it, understand it, and it has that same
We're made in
thing
God's image
as
and
well.
likeness. Yeah. We're persons as well
That
as
is
God.
that is a claim about something that exists in our physical environment. And
No, it's not.
actually it is. You
I
are a
never said
person.
physical. When did I say physical?
First of all, it is, whether you say it or not. I am
My
looking at
worldview will dictate what I believe is and isn't. And I
no, no,
just
no,
told
no.
you
But the
it's
claim,
not physical.
despite
Personhood, like I said in my
you
opening
made,
statement, is not physical. It's metaphysical.
but
Do you
you also
believe
said the
personhood is
image.
physical? Is your
No,
personhood
I'm
located in your brain?
no. We're not kind of allowing me to finish. I was trying to
Well,
piggyback
you're
off what you
doing
said.
unjustified claims, and I'm trying to get you to
Actually,
justify
no,
them.
no. I'm actually. But here's but you're doing this. Okay, I'm not doing that. But what I would say is you are actually the person who's making unjustified claims, because while I already admitted that the argument you made is logical like it's validly logical, it's not sound. And the
And you
reason
haven't
why,
demonstrated that.
actually I have, and here's why. Because you said clear, that this argument is logical. Fine. Validly, sure. But soundness is what's important, because
Demonstrate it's not sound. Stop claiming it.
I already did.
No, you
And if
didn't.
you would allow me to finish, I can show you why.
I'm not going to just let you just repeat the same thing without actually engaging with the debate. This is how debates work.
Okay, hang on. Okay, I got to step in again. Be very quick. So you're both challenging each other to demonstrate demonstrate why either the God world is justified, and Chase is asking why Nikki to demonstrate how he has not actually justified his worldview. So sure. You're both challenging each other to make the demonstration, but then you're both cutting each other off in the middle. So I would just ask that we try to be a little more charitable and let each other finish. Let's go to Nikki here to fulfill Chase's challenge to demonstrate. But then I also want to go back to Chase to attempt to fulfill Nikki's challenge to demonstrate. So sure. Continue. Let's go to Nikki first.
Well, I hope I actually can fulfill his challenge to demonstrate with what I'm about to say. Simply providing a logical argument that is valid doesn't actually give the argument weight in the real world. The concept of God isn't simply what you said. That might be maybe an argument for a deistic God. I would still have challenges with that. But the personal God that you're claiming exists, the one that's specified to this specific religion, the one that has these traits that you are able to, or that you claim you're able to verify, that does need to be demonstrated, because you're saying not only does this concept, can it be verified logically, but it can also be verified empirically, because you're saying it manifests in the physical world. And I'm not saying personhood or things like that. I'm not merely referring to those. You're talking about a deity that manifested as a human and did human things in the physical universe and had physical form. You will need to actually demonstrate the mechanism by which this deity did that. And simply saying that my argument is valid logically doesn't actually demonstrate that. So I would just like to ask how you can do that.
Again, so my argument, I gave the demonstration, so I'll do it again, right? We can account for these necessary preconditions for knowledge, such as logic, for example, because logic is a created universal based on God's divine idea for it called the logi. This is an invariant thing, an invariant pattern after which God created logic. Logic is
how do you know God exists in order to create logic?
Because there's certain things necessary to make knowledge claims at all.
These things are necessary, but they do know.
And those things are fulfilled by God.
And told me not to. How?
Do you want me to repeat the same thing I just said? So logic, for example, is a created universal based on God's divine idea. Okay.
By humans.
That's your claim, and that's going to result in the impossibility of knowledge because now it's changeable. But
no, it's
this
not
is
changeable.
My demonstration.
The environment is objective and unchangeable. Our usage to interpret it is based on its unchangeability. So that's where the usage of logic is consistent. What you need to do is you need to demonstrate the claim that the God exists that is able to create knowledge. Simply saying these things exist, which, as I said, I agree with. Yes, these things like the abstract concept that we use,
which you can't account for.
I already did, but
no,
we'll
you
just
didn't.
move on to what you're
okay,
saying.
I'm sorry to keep cutting in here, guys. Okay, so this is a debate. I get it. John O'Cross here says Nikki keeps interrupting. Look, this is a debate. It's contentious. Both sides are interrupting each other. That's how debates work when they are contentious like this. I don't fault either of you. I don't think either of you have actually gotten out of line with your interjections and interruptions. I think you've both done your fair share, but it's been okay. But what's going on here? So Chase is claiming that the possibility and the use of knowledge is a created state, or it's using logic, which is a created thing by God. Nikki is claiming that logic is a created thing by humans. So that's really where your disconnect is. And I think you should explore who is justified in using logic being created by humans, who is justified using logic being created by God. But I'll let you guys kind of take that where you want. But I think that's really where the divide is here. When you ask to demonstrate, you guys both appeal to logic, but you think logic is two different things is what it seems like. So I'll let you guys pick it back up though.
So if logic is created by humans, then it's going to be
the usage
variable.
of it. No.
So logic is
Usage.
uncreated now?
The usage of logic is what
No,
I'm
logic
referring
itself. I'm not asking about the usage. You keep going to usage. I'm asking about the tool itself, right? Just the tool.
Well, tools are used. So when you use it as a tool, where you refer to it as a tool, tools are used. So maybe there's another terminology you'd like to use.
No, that's tool. Tool is perfect because you're saying I use the tool. I'm asking, what is the tool? How did it get there?
Right.
And is it invariant or is it changeable?
Yes, because no, it is invariant. And here's why. Because the objective environment is consistent.
That's what's in question is the objective environment, because the tool is used to measure the objective environment.
Yes, it is.
So,
and the tool
so that's what's
has
in question.
The tool has consistently measured the objective environment. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's
so
what's
my
in
point
question.
is,
that's fallacious.